hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful holiday month. In this video, we will be focusing on characters to come in their kits. Diane is a Vanguard class with the weapon of Type 95 automatic rifle. One of her skills is Absolute Tuning, which focuses on dispelling a target's buffs and inflicting physical damage. Her second skill, which is her selling point to be honest, named King Xing Harmony. This skill focuses on buffing herself with the first buff being Calibration, which increases her crit rate and crit damage, which can be stacked up to 3 times. At 2 stacks, she gains a temporary calibration buff, which increases her crit rate and crit damage more, while at stack 3, it increases the damage dealt. Now you would think that's all, but there's more. The second buff within the same skill usage is Tuning, which deals stability damage equal to the number of tuning stacks she has before the skill is used. If you don't know what stability is, it's the armor icon next to a character HP, which means she will be exposing enemies from cover much faster, which allows them to take more damage. The final part of this skill is she gains a command action, which may be similar to Mosin Nagant command action, where she can use 2 actions in 1 turn. Now to her passive named Swift Harmony. At the start of the turn, she gains Contamination Gauge and Calibration, which of course increases her crit rate and crit damage. Also, when attacking an enemy not in cover, she gains Contamination Gauge. Finally, her ultimate Ethereal Resonance deals physical damage. This cooldown is reduced according to the number of calibration stacks, and after the attack, all tuning stacks are consumed to gain permanent calibration. If you are looking for an early hard carry DPS paired with Kyungju, I'd say pull rating 10 out of 10. With that being said, I will put her in S tier as a hard DPS carry paired with Suomi, Kyungju, Tololo. However, if you are playing content which requires more than 4 units, I would look into adding Cheetah or Groza for extra buffing or follow-up attacks. Next up, we have Cute Maid Centaurace. Centaurace is a support class using the weapon known as G36. Her first skill is Careful Hospitality, which deals burning damage, while also restoring HP to the nearest allied unit, excluding self, after attacking gain Thermal Recovery. If the enemy target has Overflowing Fire, heal 1 more time, excluding herself. Her second skill is called Zucchero's Special Drink, which restores HP of the targeted ally and all allies within a 3-tile radius, with the healing amount evenly distributed among all targets. Additionally, it inflicts AoE physical damage on all enemies within range, which if the enemy targets have Overflowing Fire, it will dispel their buff. Centaurace's ultimate Afternoon Tea Break. It restores HP of all allies, dispels debuffs, removes panic and stun, and restores stability to the ally with the lowest stability. After healing, apply Thermal Recovery, which recovers HP before being attacked and dispels the attacker's buffs. Her passive Maid's Duty at the beginning of the battle, gain Thermal Recovery, which recovers HP before being attacked and dispels the attacker's buffs. While having Thermal Recovery increases damage dealt, while also providing additional healing when healing apply Overflowing Fire after using an active attack, units affected by Overflowing Fire will take fixed damage each turn. Additionally, enemy units within range receive precision attacks from allies. She does 1 leading support attack and applies Thermal Recovery to the ally, which recovers HP before being attacked and dispels the attacker's buffs. Centaurace gains Contamination Gauge when performing this action. Honestly, I would rate this character 6 out of 10 since she only heals and removes debuffs. She doesn't provide any huge team buffing, and since most of us have Suomi, I would skip while waiting to see just how hard content may get to even think of pulling this character. To me, she's a solid BA for the tier list. Next up, we have Sad Lena. Lena is a support with the weapon known as UMP9. I'm pretty sure we all know her if we played the First Girls Frontline game, but sadly, she sucks due to the current list of characters. The most important parts of her kit are Voltage Terrain and Conductive. Voltage Terrain is like a debuff that applies to the area around where the skill was used. However, this can only be triggered by AoE damage, which is her problem. There isn't enough AoE characters that are good enough to make her shine later in the game. The meta now is follow attacks, shielding, and buffing. Her passive, King's Authority. She is immune to the debuff effects of Conductive Terrain. When enemy units gain Conduction, she gains Contamination Gauge. After dealing precision damage, generate a Voltage Terrain within a radius of 1 tile around the target. It applies conductive vulnerability to enemies on the terrain. AoE damage triggers the voltage terrain reaction, dealing fixed damage to targets on the terrain. Her skill 1 is Wild Extinction. She deals conductive damage. Consuming Contamination Gauge enhances the skill, increasing the damage dealt by this attack. Her skill 2, Leaping Pursuit. Inflicting static imbalance 2 to the nearest enemy target within a radius of 7 tiles. This increases the stability damage the target receives and inflicts physical damage. Consuming Contamination Gauge enhances the skill and grants an additional command. Her ultimate, Hunting Strategy, deals AoE conductive damage to all enemy targets within a radius of 5 tiles and applies Conduction. This generates a voltage terrain, which applies conductive vulnerability to enemies on the terrain. AoE damage triggers the voltage terrain reaction, dealing fixed damage to targets on the terrain. She will also receive a cute outfit later or during her banner if you're interested in this character.